Hey, you guys, welcome to this episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. So this episode, we're going to dive in and talk about how the rich invest and grow their wealth. So I know investing can sometimes be like, oh my gosh, it's like very confusing. You feel like people are either like really lucky in it and they make a bunch of money, or they're really smart and they know all these secrets. But listen, the truth is a lot of investing principles used by people who actually are rich and wealthy and build wealth while doing it are pretty simple. There's not a lot of secrets. There's not a lot of things that you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't understand that. It really is. It's pretty simple, which is encouraging. That means you can understand it and you can do it as well. And you guys, I can't stress enough how important this topic is when it comes to growing your wealth. So let's get right in. Okay, to start, let's take a minute to recap when you should invest. I want you to know there is a time and a place for you to be investing, specifically with retirement. So we always talk about the baby steps on this show, but it's really important that your financial picture is in order. So I want you to have no debt, okay, completely debt-free except for a mortgage. If you have a mortgage, that doesn't count, but completely debt-free when it comes to consumer debt. Have a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank. Then you can move on to investing, which is, we recommend 15% of your income into retirement. So if you're in debt or you don't have cash for an emergency fund, press pause on investing, get all that straightened out so you have a really solid foundation, then press play so that you can start investing. Okay, so now that we've established that, let's talk about the first investing principle that the rich understand. They have a long-term perspective. Investing, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So when the stock market goes crazy and has all these ups and downs, it can be insane and you could get emotional and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just take my money out. But you leave it because again, it is a long-term perspective. You're looking out at retirement ages, right? In your late 50s and 60s, that's where you're going. So you wanna have that big picture because again, it's easy to freak out and have this short-term perspective and want to pull your money out. And I like to think of it this way too. We say that the stock market is like a roller coaster and the only person who gets hurt on a roller coaster is the person that jumps off. So stay on the ride and let it go. It's going to be scary times. It's going to be exciting times, but just keep your money in because you're looking for a long-term perspective. So let's look at a real life example here. Do you remember 2008, 2009, that recession? Do you remember that? Well, let's say that you put money in before all of that in 2007, and we'll use Kate, our BFF Kate, as just an example. And Kate has been doing great. She's working hard, she's putting money away in retirement, and she's been doing this for a long time. So let's pretend that Kate has $400,000 in her 401k. It's pretty awesome. In 2007, Kate is doing great. Well, 2008 comes, the crash happens, and the stock market hits rock bottom March of 2009, okay? So it goes all the way down. And for most people, more than half of what they had, the value of what they had was cut in half. So between October of 2007 and March of 2009. So it was terrible, okay? So Kate's 401k balance dwindled to $169,320. Y'all, $169,000 when she had $400,000. If that doesn't make you want to throw up, I don't know what will. Like terrible, not good, okay? And everyone's feeling that in the world then. If you remember, panic, people are freaking out. They're pulling money out of their retirement, their 401ks and their Roth IRAs because they want to have more stable investments. And again, everything's gone crazy. So here's what's wild. Slowly but surely, it did not happen overnight. But by March of 2013, exactly 4 years after it hit bottom, the stock market fully recovered and it continued to rise. So fast forward today, even though since then, it still has done this and we've all felt that recently, I know. But Kate, she kept her money in, had a long-term perspective. And today she now sits well over $1 million in her retirement account. Yep. So her money has tripled that she had pre-recession and she didn't even invest another penny. Okay, so that's what's wild is if you just take those numbers and just let it ride up, she has over $1 million. So wealthy people invest regardless of what the market's doing because when you're not investing consistently, you may miss out on some of the lows, but you're also going to miss out on some of the highs. right, the next principle that the wealthy understand is you have to take advantage of tax-advantaged accounts. So these tax-deferred accounts are things like a traditional 401k or 403b, even a traditional IRA. So all of these things are great because before taxes are taken out of your paycheck, you invest, the money grows, and then when you take it out of retirement, you pay taxes. Now, there's a beautiful thing called a Roth, which you think of a Roth as just like a little nice, barefoot dreams blanket over your account, and it's wonderful and great. And so that Roth actually protects you from taxes even on the growth. But when you fund your Roth, you fund it after you've paid taxes. So it's your money that comes home, and then you take that money and invest it. But then that grows tax-free. So anytime you see Roth, that's your BFF. That's your cozy blanket that you have in life that covers you against taxes, which is great. But regardless of that, 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, Roth IRAs, these are all really great retirement vehicles to put your money in and let them ride out till retirement. I'm telling you, the 65-year-old version of you, the 63-year-old version of you, the 59-year-old version of you is going to love that you've been doing this because you put your money in and you keep it. So again, baby step 4, once you have all your debt paid off in that fully funded emergency fund, be investing 15% of your income into retirement. We did a study here at Ramsey Solutions that we interviewed millionaires. It was the largest millionaire study ever done. And it's crazy because majority of them say that the 401k was one of their top ways to build wealth, not inheriting, a fortune or day trading. But the 401k, it was the thing that kept coming up that helped them build wealth. So it's a good thing to do. You're doing all the right things, but this economy is busting your budget. Did you know there's a budget-friendly solution to rising healthcare costs? There is, and it's through Christian Healthcare Ministries, America's longest-serving health cost-sharing ministry. Visit chministries.org/Rachel to learn more. Okay, up next, you have to be consistent. Consistency is key, and it's over time, you guys. There's no shortcuts. It's not get rich quick. It is putting your money in and day out, every year, every month, even though the market may be going crazy, you continue to invest. And here's the deal. People that kind of freak out when the market's down and they're like, I don't want to invest. The people that are investing are actually going to be able to buy more shares, more stock of a company because they're cheaper because the value's low. So, your $1,000 of stock when everything's going great is going to buy you, this much. But when it's down, it's going to buy you this much. And then that much gets to rise back up. It gets to go up when the market returns. And it's a beautiful thing. So regardless of what the market is doing, be consistent and continue to invest. If you need to pause investing for things like, rebuilding your emergency fund, if you use that, or if you want to save for a down payment on a home, maybe you'll pause for that. There are reasons to pause investing once you're on baby step 4, but not a lot. So I would say otherwise, consistency is key. All right, another principle that the rich understand is that they must focus on growth. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, when you're saving for retirement, there's an enemy that you're trying to outrun, and that enemy is a word that we've heard a lot recently. Inflation. Yep. That means the dollar today is going to feel more like 75 cents a decade from now. So you want to make sure that your investments are outpacing inflation. And when you look at the S&P 500, on average, since like 1929, 1928, it has averaged 11.8%. Okay, so you can look at that and look at average inflation, and it outpaces it. Some investments that people use, whether it's like CDs or other things, long-term may not outpace inflation. So you do want to make sure that your growth in your investments is outpacing inflation, but your 401k, Roth IRAs, all of that within the market should be doing that. All right, the last principle that we're going to talk about is that the wealthy reduce risk with diversification. So diversification just means to spread around, okay? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread everything around because there's an element of risk when you invest like in one stock and everything is just right there. That's a really scary place to be because it's happened before that company tanks and you lose all your retirement. And some people love to day trade and all that. That's even risky. So, again, all these things, it's up to you if you want to do it. But I'm telling you, the best way to do it is to spread your money around. Mutual funds is a great way to do that. That's 90 to 200 stock. that are going to be in a fund that you use, and you can use those mutual funds within your 401k and Roth IRAs and all of that. So even within the mutual funds, though, there's different types of mutual funds. So we recommend 4 different types: to put a 4th in growth and income, a 4th in just growth, a 4th in aggressive growth, and a 4th in international. So even within your mutual funds, you're just kind of spreading it around, which is great because sometimes things go up, other ones go down, and it just ends up balancing out over a long period of time. Now, if you're just starting out, you may be like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully you kind of got a grasp of, okay, these are smart principles to use when I invest, but I always recommend sitting down with an investment professional, okay? And I would recommend reaching out to one of our Smart Investor Pros because they understand the Ramsey journey that we're taking you on, and they have a heart of a teacher, and they can sit down and help you with your investments. So I recommend doing it, you guys. This is a big part of growing wealth in the long term. And I get it. I mean, there's sometimes for me where I'm like, oh, I see how much, I put into my 401k or, doing our Roths, and I'm like, oh, that money, that would have been a great vacation. Like if we had spent that money just 1 year, that would have been really nice. Like there's sometimes you're like, I just want to enjoy my money. But I have to go back to its consistency. I'm like, I do it regardless of what's going on, putting the money in because it's going to grow. And that's the thing that's going to help you build wealth. It really is. So investing is so important. And if you have a friend who loves investing or loves talking about it or wants to learn more, send them this video. And we are well on our way, you guys, to take control of our money and create a life you love.